Um, okay, thank you very much for joining. So today we've come to our third session where we're going to understand the need to create organizational policies and procedures. So we have introduced in our previous tutorials what are the current and regulatory issues in IT, and we looked into understanding the current and ethical issues in IT. So now we will have one learning outcome, and then we'll have our merit and distinction learning outcomes. So let's jump onto our presentation. So from our indicative content, we're going to create a robust organizational policies and procedures, which is crucial for ensuring that our organization operates efficiently, ethically, and in compliance with the legal and regulatory requirements. So we will have a couple of key aspects which we are going to look into them in details, and we're going to explain each of them. So one of them, we're now looking into consistency and standardization. So why is this important? This will now give uniformity to our company, where policies and procedures are now going to provide the framework for standardizing processes and actions across the organization. Then it also helps for predictability, where we're now going to be consistent process, which is going to make it easier to predict the outcome and manage all our company expectations. So, for example, we have organization customer service policy, which will now outline specific steps for handling complaints, ensuring that all users receive the same level of services. Then we have legal and regulatory compliance. So it is important to avoid the legal issues, where these policies and procedure will now help us to ensure that our organization complies with the law and regulation. Thereby, we're going to be avoiding legal penalties and fines. So we will now have the ability to stay up to date with regulatory updated policies, which are going to ensure that the organization remains compliant with challenging law and regulations. Risk management, which it is important to identify any type of risks, such as policies and procedures that will now help to identify potential risks and establish control to migrate them. And also it is important to have crisis management, which help us to proceed when providing a roadmap for managing crisis efficiently. Also, we're going to have organizational culture and ethical standards, where we're going to promote ethics. Well, we're now going to set the tone for ethical behavior within the organization, where our employees they'll now be guided in making decisions that align with our company's values. Building trust, where we're going to clear policies on issues such as anti-harassment and diversity, which can help build a positive workplace culture and foster trust among employees. Organizational efficiency and performance, where it is important for us to streamline the process, where this procedure will help streamline operations by providing clear instruction on how to perform each task. And also we're going to be measuring our performance, such as using tools like or techniques like KPI, which are going to provide benchmarks for measuring performance and identifying areas of improvement. Training and development, where it is important for us to have onboarding, where with this policy and procedure are now essential for training new employees and helping them understand their role and responsibility quickly. Continuous learning also is very important, where we're going to regularly update policies that can provide ongoing learning opportunities for current employees, which we're now going to be keeping them informed about best practice and regulatory challenges. So to conclude this key aspect, it is important to now creating and maintaining organizational policies and procedures for achieving consistency and also ensuring compliance, managing risk, fostering a positive organizational culture. So these policies and procedures serves as a foundation for the organization operation, guiding employees in making informed, ethical, and compliant decisions. Now we're going to examine the role of our organizational policies and the need for standardized procedures in a range of contexts. So when it comes to organizational policies and standardized process, these are now going to play a crucial role in various contexts, and we'll now look into them one by one. So this table showcase what are the contexts and also explain what are the roles of the organizational policies and also what the need for these standardized procedures. So these contexts are information security management, data management, access control, data security, electronic messaging, monitoring, remote access, and server security. So now we look in detail for each one of them. So when it comes to information security management, this is very important when it comes to governance and organizational structure, where it's going to establish who is now responsible for various aspects of information security and also creating accountability. So we also have in-house computer user roles, where they're simply going to help to prevent measures of IT resources by defining what is considered acceptable behavior. Data management, we're now looking into our GDPR compliance, where these policies ensure that sensitive data is handled according to our GDPR requirements. And we're now going to protecting individual privacy and avoiding legal penalties. And also data trademark, which when it comes to standardized procedures, you'll now cover our data encryption, access control, and data processing, which is now going to ensure that our data management practice are robust and secure. Access control, we're now looking into role-based access, where policies define access level based on job roles, and we're now going to be ensuring that employees only have access to data which is necessary for the work. Consistent implementation, where we're going to now standardize procedures for granting, modifying, and revoking access, which is ensure that access control are applied uniformly. When it comes to data security, this now relates to data and rest, where this policy on encryption and physical security ensures that the data is stored and protected from unauthorized access. Also, we have data in transit, which we're now going to secure transmission policies, such as the use of VPN and encryption to protect data as it moves across networks. Data and processing, where we're going to secure processing environment and controls ensure that data is protected during activities. So when it comes to electronic messaging, content and use policies, which is going to define what constitute acceptable use of email and messaging systems, and is now going to protecting against inappropriate use of phishing attacks. Security measures are now standardized procedures for encryption and secure communication channels, which is now going to ensure the integrity and confidentiality of messages. Monitoring, we're now going to have security monitoring. With these policies, we're now going to establish what activities need to be monitored, how monitoring is conducted, and how incidents are handled. And lastly, we have the compliance, where standardized monitoring procedures ensure that monitoring activities will now comply with legal requirements and organizational policies. Lastly, we now have remote access, where we're now going to define the use of VPN to 2FA and other security measures for remote access, where we also have consistent application, where standardized procedures are now going to ensure that all remote access points are secured in the same manner, and they're going to be reducing vulnerabilities. Lastly, we have server security, where these server management policies define regular patching, secure configuration, and access control to protect server environment. And operational consistency, where standardized server management procedures ensure that all servers are maintained securely and consistently. So to conclude, we will now know that organizational policies and standardized procedures are essential for ensuring effective information security when it comes to the security management, data management, access control, and our overall IT governance. Now we're looking into our merit criteria, where we have to be able to assess the importance of standardized policies and procedures. So by assessing the importance of our standardized policies and procedures, this is now crucial for the smooth operation and success of any organization, where we're now going to provide a clear framework for employees and managers. We're now going to promote a shared organizational culture, enhance transparency, formalize accountability, and guide daily operation and improve overall efficiency. So below we have some of the key aspects, such as set expectation for employees and management. So why is this important? This is important because it gives us clarity and consistency, where with these policies and procedure, we now ensure that all employees and managers have a clear understanding of their role, responsibilities, and expected standards of behavior. Also, we have uniform guidelines where they will now provide uniform guidelines that will now help to align individual action with the organization goals and values. So we need to be able to promote shared culture, where with these unified values, Our policy will now help us to embed in the organization core values and principles across all levels, fostering a cohesive and unified culture. So it's also important for us to promote transparencies and formalizes an accountability structure, where by having clear communication, our policy and procedure can now enhance transparency by clearly outline how decisions are made and action are taken within the organization. When it comes to accountability, this will now formalize our company's accountability structure by specifying who is responsible for what. And we're now going to be ensuring that all our employees and managers are held accountable for the action. So we're now going to set out a plan for our daily operation, where organizational guidelines, where this procedure will now provide detailed instruction for daily operations, ensuring that tasks are performed currently and efficiently. Minimize errors, where they can now help in reducing errors and inconsistencies by providing a clear roadmap for employees to follow. And lastly, we're now going to promote efficiency, where it is important to now streamline processes, where we're going to standardize procedures that will help in streamlining processes, eliminating unnecessary steps and reducing redundancy. So this will now be important because we're now going to improve our productivity. With these clear guidelines, we're now going to be reducing also ambiguity, and now our employees will now be able to work more efficiently and improving the overall productivity. So, as we said, the importance of standardized policy and procedure cannot be overstated. This will now set clear expectation for employees and managers. It's now going to promote a shared organizational culture, enhance transparency, formalize accountability structure, guide daily operations, and improve overall efficiency. So in this table, we can see a more comprehensive understanding, where we have on our left side the aspects and on the right side why they're important. Our final distinction learning outcome, we're going to evaluate the importance of standardized policies and procedures. We're now going to be evaluating the impact of standardized policies and procedures, where by having this, we have a significant impact on this organization. Why they bring numerous benefits, such as improved consistency, transparency, and efficiency. They will now also pose some of the challenges. So we will now look into them and we'll explain them in detail. So this aspect, time to set up, financial investment, and resistance to challenges. So let's look into them one by one. When it comes to time to set up, we now have some positive impact from it, where we have now long-term benefits, where investing time in developing standardized policy and procedure will now pay off in the long run by creating a more efficient and consistent operational framework. So we will now help when it comes to aligning with the organizational process within its goals and regulatory requirements. So what are the challenges when it comes to time to set up? this process of creating, reviewing, and implementing comprehensive policies and procedure can be very time-consuming, and it will now involve collaboration across various departments within the company. Financial investment. So the positive impact of them are the cost saving. So once implemented, standardized procedures can lead to a significant cost saving. We're now going to be reducing error, streamlining our procedures, and improving efficiency, where the organization can now lower operational costs. What are the challenges? Again, we're now looking into the initial cost, where developing a new policies and procedure will now often require a financial investment, where this can now include costs related for consulting services, employee trainings, updating or purchasing new technologies, and dedicating staff time to development and implementation of this process. Resistance to challenges, what the positive impact to them is that now with our policies and procedures, you help us to ensure that all employees adhere to the same standards, which can improve our overall compliance and accountability. Staff resilience is one of the major challenges, where implementing new policies and procedures can be met with resistance from employees who are accustomed to existing procedures. So this change can now be disruptive and might lead to decreased morale in the management, in the proper management. So to conclude, we can now say that the impact of standardized policies and procedure on the organization is multi-phased. So while there are often significant benefits, such as long-term operational efficiency, we also have cost saving and improved compliance, which all of these can also be present challenges, as we said, like initial time and financial investment, which are required, and also the potential resistance from our staff. So it is important that successfully we now implementing our standardized policies and procedures, which requires careful planning and clear communication and ongoing support to address any sort of challenges. So we also have a concise overview with what we have explained for our time to set up financial investment and resistance to challenges. So to conclude our session, we can now say that by considering this impact, organization can better prepare for implementation and standardized policies and procedures, and now going to ensuring that they're able to maximize the benefit while effectively addressing all the challenges. So this was everything for today's session. Is there any question for me?
Hi, Victor. Yeah, that was all great. Thanks. I have some questions just about on the feedback on the last assignment. Is it okay to go over
that? The last assignment.
Yeah, just the feedback. I just wanted just a couple of things you said I've got questions about.
Yeah.
Cool. So first of all, let me just quickly grab it up. So thanks for grading and getting back to me. That's really helpful. Thank you, and thank you for the feedback. So in your
Is
feedback.
it? Yeah, is he okay if I just end this session?
Yeah.
That we
Please
just
do.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Let me just stop recording.